Hi, welcome back to the Beauty Authority. I'm Tatiana Bito, Director of Aesthetic Content, and today I have with me Dr. Brent Ridge of Beekman 1802, and we're going to be talking about farm to formula with a little history about Beekman 1802 and also some info on their new formulations. Hi, Dr. Brent, how are you?
Hi, Tatiana. I have never heard farm to formulation before. I'm going to have to steal that, I think.
Well, I think it's the perfect title to describe your brand and where you're headed to next. But before we go there, let's talk a little bit about the history of Beekman 1802. A lot of people know about it because it is such a beloved skincare brand. But for those who don't know, can you give us a little bit of a backstory?
Sure. I co-founded the company with my husband, Josh Kumar Purcell, almost 16 years ago. And my background is in longevity and aging. I was on faculty at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City, and then went to work at Martha Stewart to head up a new health and wellness division of the company that they were creating. And my husband was in advertising. And in 2006, we purchased a farm in upstate New York, thinking it was going to be our weekend escape from the city. And one weekend we came up and there was a note in our mailbox from a local farmer who was losing his farm, and he had a herd of 100 goats. And he said, "Could I please bring these goats to your property to graze? Otherwise, I will have to sell my herd." And so we met with him. We saw how much he loved these animals. And we said, "Absolutely, bring the animals. We're only here periodically. You can live in this other structure on the farm and have your animals, and that's fine." And we say that was the original act of kindness that started our company, because in 2008, when the recession hit, we both lost our jobs. My division at Martha folded, my husband's advertising agency folded, and we Googled what can we make with goat milk,
Wow.
and that's why we that's why we say there are two key ingredients in everything that Beekman makes: goat milk and kindness, and that's how we started.
And first of all, what a pivot, right? An amazing pivot and such an inspirational story. But what were some of the first products that really hit with consumers? Because Beekman 1802 is a cult classic brand. So what really started that off?
Well, I say even today, even though we're going to a lot of scientific formulas that we'll talk about, we are still really known for cleansing. Our very first product that we ever created was the original bar of goat milk soap, and we started making those bars on our farm with the goat milk from our farm. Our neighbors helped us wrap those bars of soap, and our original tagline for the company was "Soap for Sensitive People." Because we really were creating product for people who had sensitive skin. And even to this day, I say that, the way you cleanse your skin is the foundation of skin health, because so many people use cleansers that change the pH of the skin, or it strips the barrier of the skin, which causes this cascade of issues because you're disturbing the microbiome, you're causing inflammation on the surface of the skin. And so I still say cleansing is the most important. And that original bar of soap that we started making all those years ago, we've sold 60 million bars of that soap now,
Wow,
because
amazing.
it really does change people's skin when they change the way they cleanse their skin.
Yeah, for anyone with reactive or sensitive skin, it's a game changer. So
Mhm.
I can see why you've sold so many. And how has the brand evolved since those early beginnings? I mean, you mentioned the word longevity, which is kind of where we're headed to now in
Mhm.
aesthetics. So
Mhm.
talk to me about that, a little bit of a shift that's happening.
Yeah. Well, we once we started getting national distribution with our original products, which originally were the bars of soap and body moisturizer, we started getting these anecdotal reports from people saying, "Wow, this is really changing my skin," particularly if people had reactive skin, whether it was acne or psoriasis or eczema. Those were the customers who were finding us. And as a scientist, that just really piqued my curiosity. Goat milk had been used for thousands of years to treat people with really dry skin or some sort of skin inflammation. People would bathe in the goat milk. I was like, why? What is it about the goat milk to be causing this?
Yes.
And so the first thing we learned was that goat milk have the same pH as human skin. So when you cleanse with it, you're not disturbing the pH of the skin. But then, as the science of the skin microbiome started developing about 10 years ago, we started looking at how the oligosaccharides from the goat milk could be used as a powerful prebiotic for the skin microbiome. And the
Mhm.
skin microbiome is so critical for helping control inflammatory processes on the surface of the skin. And so that's where kind of our first facial skincare product started focusing was on how we were nourishing the microbiome of the skin. And then I would say about 3 years ago, I was reading a medical journal from the oncology literature, and there was this group of scientists who were looking at how they could administer chemotherapy directly into tumor cells in a way that would not impact the healthy cells around the tumor. And so they had started using exosomes to deliver the chemotherapy into the tumor cells. And once they discovered this novel way of administering the chemotherapy, they just started looking in nature where could they find the most abundant quantity of exosomes that were relatively easy to extract.
Mhm.
And guess where they found them? In goat milk.
Wow.
And so we started researching our goat milk and found that there were 116 billion exosomes in every milliliter of the goat milk. And so now what we're doing in terms of our products that are focusing on what we call better aging, we never use the terminology anti-aging, is how can we use those exosomes as a delivery mechanism for the peptides that we're using as the active ingredient in the product?
And for people who don't know, exosomes are like little cellular messengers, right? And when you're using them, it tells our cells how to react or behave differently.
That's right. They are like little envelopes of delivery.
Yeah.
Just UPS or FedEx will be delivering a package. They're delivering a package into your skin.
Yeah. And speaking of the Milk RX line, for anyone who is menopausal, extremely dry skin,
Mhm.
sensitive skin, I've personally used it and it's like my one and done morning, night. If you have that thirsty, reactive skin, it's really a game changer.
It really is. And how we formulate the Milk RX cream is we take this powerful polypeptide that's extracted from the rennet seed, which has been known as the seed of youth. And this particular polypeptide is 4 times as powerful as retinol at collagen stimulation, but has none of the skin sensitization that comes from using high percentages of retinol. And
Yeah.
so the combination of that polypeptide with the exosomal delivery system in our formulation is a really powerful combination. So if you are someone who's 50 years old or older and you're worrying about the different layers of skin aging, like all the things that are happening in the skin, the buildup of free radical damage, the change in the extracellular matrix of the skin, and you're looking for a product that can address all of those issues, increased transepidermal waterfalls as well, and moisture. That cream really does it. And it has this amazing, really rich texture. It feels so amazing when you put it on. And it's
Mhm.
really powerful on a from a clinical perspective as well.
And for that Milk RX line, because I'm only talking about the cream, but it's a line, so there are other products. What should consumers know about how it's formulated? What makes it the RX?
Well, the RX actually comes from the combination of the rennet seed
Okay.
peptide, and the exosome. So the
Ah.
RX. And so that's really what started with the cream. The cream launched about 2 years ago and now is our number one selling facial product. And then earlier this year, we launched the serum component to accompany the cream. And what's great about the serum is that in addition to the Rexosome, it's a two-chamber formula. So in addition to the Rexosome, we also add hydrolyzed collagen. And
Mhm.
then there's a chamber of pure stable vitamin C. So you're administering both of them at the same time. And that's particularly effective for deep wrinkles. And the way I like to use that is I like to press the serum. Like I will look into the mirror and smile as big as I can. Wherever I see those wrinkles forming here around the eyes, like wherever the wrinkles, the deep wrinkles,
Mhm.
I press the serum into those areas. And then I put an entire layer of the cream all the way over the face, down the chin, down the neck. The cream is amazing for lifting.
I'm gonna have to try that. So you press in the areas where you see,
The
your crow's
deepest
feet, yeah,
yes,
your nasolabials, your number 11s, and then you do a layer of the cream on top. Oh, that's
that's
so
right.
smart. I hadn't thought of that.
And then we also have the Milk RX treatment mask.
Yes.
And what's great about that is the lactoferrin, which is natural component of the goat milk, is really powerful for anti-inflammation. And so that mask is amazing if you're having some sort of reactive flare-up, maybe it's hormonal or maybe it's post-procedure. You've had a laser peel or a deep exfoliation or something. You can put that mask on, and it's wonderful at helping control the inflammation on the skin. For so many years, doctors, plastic surgeons in particular, after people had a procedure, they would warn, don't put any product on your skin. You want your skin to heal. And they would tell people to go home, soak a washcloth in milk, and do a
Mhm.
milk compress on the skin to control the skin. And that's because the lactoferrin from the milk is so good at controlling inflammation. So that's what we do with the Milk RX mask.
I love it. I love any natural approaches to things. And so that brings me to my next question. There's a big push for natural, longevity, regenerative. What should people understand about the way Beekman formulates its products?
Well, for us, it really all goes back to that goat milk. And it truly is nature's perfect serum because in the research we've done so far, in addition to the exosomes, we've identified 31 key nutrients in every drop of goat milk, and that goes from vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, magnesium, calcium, all of these incredible minerals, all these powerful amino acids and peptides, which actually influence the surface of the skin. And right now, we're going deeper into the peptidomics, like looking at the peptides in goat milk that have never been categorized before, and how can we break those peptides down into smaller amino acid chains so they truly penetrate the skin and help repair the skin barrier. But everything starts with that nature's perfect serum, that goat milk.
Yeah. And outside of the goat milk, what are you most proud of in terms of innovation?
I say outside of the goat milk and the Milk RX, which is like our kind of newest innovation, I would say I'm really proud of the approach that our team takes in product formulation and really looking at not only the goat milk, but how are we creating product that does not sensitize the skin. And I'll give one example. We have this product called the Milkshake, which is a biphasic moisturizer and toner.
Mhm.
And unlike most toners that use like alcohol or witch hazel, which can be sensitizing to the skin, we use mugwort. And then that's the toning phase. And in the moisturizing phase, we use the goat milk, hyaluronic acid, and squalane. And so you shake that product to activate. And that became on TikTok one of our breakout viral products. And then last year, as we saw so many people turning to body mist and body fragrance, we became slightly concerned because so many fragrances are alcohol based.
Yeah.
And alcohol can be very sensitizing to the skin and very drying to the skin, particularly if you have reactive skin. And we said, okay, how can we lean into what the consumer is asking for, the consumer is excited about, but provide something that is healthier for the skin? So
Yeah.
then we took that biphasic idea and created a body mist spray that is also biphasic, but we use a technology that was created by Givaudan that creates a microbiome friendly fragrance that is alcohol free. So you still get that sensorial thing, that fun that you're looking for in the milkshake and in a body fragrance, but you're also not doing any damage to the surface of the skin by using it.
And you smell great and you're highly moisturized.
That's right.
And we can thank the goats, right?
And our great team at Beekman.
Of course. And from a science perspective, what should consumers also know about your formulations? I know I've seen clinical studies before in the
Mhm,
past. So
mhm.
even though we're getting gentler formulas, natural formulas, that doesn't mean they're not working. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think this actually brings up a good point because so many consumers will get their information about a product in 3 seconds from a TikTok reel or from something an influencer says, or even from the product shelf at the retailer. But what consumers don't know is that a lot of that information is not vetted. It's just some numbers that, are kind of either made up or extrapolated or hypertrophied in some way. But because Beekman 1802 is so rooted in TV retail, we're one of the biggest skin health brands on QVC. And what consumers who don't watch QVC don't realize is that every single claim that you make on TV is governed by the FTC. So you are not allowed to put up a picture, make a statement that is not legally verified. And so anytime you see our brand make claims on social media or you see something at Ulta on our stand, it's using the same stringent criteria that was demanded of us by being on TV. And I just say, consumer has to be aware because so much of the information out there about products has never been verified. That doesn't mean they're dangerous. It may,
Yeah.
just may not mean that they are as clinically effective as portrayed.
Wonderful. Well, on a personal note, just for anyone watching, what are your top 3 Beekman 1802 products, your desert island products you have to take with you?
Well, I will give my personal routine. Of course, I think everything we make is good, but my personal routine is every morning, I use our Bloom Cream moisturizer. That was our original facial moisturizer. And that's great because it's packed with those oligosaccharides plus an additional probiotic ferment to really make that microbiome of the skin bloom and make your skin resilient and also a great lightweight moisture. So that's the Bloom Cream. I use that every morning. And then every night, my nighttime routine is the Milk RX serum and the Milk RX cream, as I said. And I go my chin, my neck, everything. Um, and that's what I use. Those are my products.
And then we'll throw in the RX mask as well for a
Yes,
self-care Sunday moment.
when I have time for the extra treatment, yes.
Yes. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the Beauty Authority and speaking with New Beauty today. And we'll continue to spread all of your formulations on and send all of our love to the goats.
Oh, always thanks to New Beauty for always wanting to go deeper and learn more and educate better.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Brent.
Thank you.